Dan, do you want to move on to your budget request?
Yes, thank you. So for each September, we're required to submit a budget request to the Department of Finance. This would include our budget change proposals for the year, so for the Department of Finance and the Governor to consider as they develop the January budget. To do this, we convene a budget work group consisting of many community college stakeholders. We take the wisdom of that discussion and go to consultation, get their input, and then we bring it to the board for your consideration and direction so that we can craft a proposal that you can approve in September. So with that in mind, that's just exactly what we've done this year. Each year, of course, the group will consider whether to do COLA, growth, or categorical restoration, what kind of priority we want to put those in. I think there was a emphasis this year from both the Consultation Council and from the work groups to favor COLA and categorical restoration over growth. I think there was a strong commitment from both parties to, even if we don't ask for the full impact of the recent cuts of recent years, we don't specifically ask for restoration for this coming budget, that we certainly need to detail the hits we've taken in the narrative. So there was discussion of that. Further, there was discussion that with the ballot initiative so crucial to this year's budget and future budgets, that we would probably want a two-part request. There would be one request assuming passage of the ballot, and then a second, presumably more limited request reflecting what would happen if the ballot fails. There were also some support for some specific initiatives, such as funding some of the Student Success Task Force request. That goes from, and some of that goes hand in hand with restoring categorical programs. We want to beef up the matriculation program so districts can fund more counseling. But also, if we could find some dollars to help develop the technology for an educational planning tool, for development of a common assessment tool. There were some items that support the task force goals that were mentioned there. There was also a request from Academic Affairs to request funding for grants to local districts to develop ways of improving the retention of students engaged in independent study. So that would be local assistance grants, and have them test ways of improving their retention and submitting that information back to our office for analysis and possible information dissemination to other districts. So I think for you, probably the major feedback I'd like is, do you have priorities in terms of categorical restoration, COLA, growth? Obviously, we're not going to get all 1.7 billion back this budget year. So if we do have a few $100 million, what were your priorities to put them in? Do you think we should ask for the whole allotment of money, or do you think we should make a more practical request? And of course, do you support some of the individual initiatives, such as the Student Success Task Force requests? I think that's feedback that would be useful for us as we develop the plan for September.
Okay. Board members? Member Baum?
I'll just say I appreciate the approach that you took with the request that and so the restoration of categoricals and others. So so in general, I would support this approach when it comes before us as a final recommendation.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think it's a much more thoughtful approach, having been around for a few budget cycles. Here, while we all would like to see all of the money returned, I think we stand a much better chance of a more reasoned approach. Others? Good. Member Belinsky.
Just a question so that I could better understand. On the sheet that we have, it has these various things that you just talked through bulleted, are they in any sort of prioritized order or just a listing of what the group came up with?
Yeah, mostly it's a listing of what the group came up with, COLA and categorical programs, and certainly there were advocates for each individual categorical program, spoke up on their the behalf of those programs, and I tended to.
So at some point in
incorporate that
time,
one.
it may need to be prioritized or whatever?
Well, I think if we were to ask for categorical restoration, I think we would probably ask for all of the programs to be restored back to at least back to the level they were at 08, 09.
Okay.
Perhaps with a particular request for a larger increase to the matric program, because that reflects the Student Success Task Force priorities.
Okay, with no further questions, thank you very much, Vice Chancellor, for your report. This, as I understand, is still a work in progress, somewhat.
That's correct. I'll take your input back to the work group. We'll reconvene again and take one more round at Consultation Council, and then hopefully we'll be here in September with a request that you can support.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you.